Today's spotlight falls on two humble copper cents from 1987 and 2007 whose everyday appearance hides fascinating surprises. One of those tiny discs landed in millions of pockets without much thought, yet careful eyes can spot subtle quirks that send collectors racing. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why an ordinary-looking 1987 Lincoln cent can command five-figure prices and what to watch for when hunting down these elusive errors. The story of the 1987 Lincoln cent begins amid a broader shuffle at the U.S. Mint. By the mid-1980s, rising copper costs had the mint juggling alloy formulas and refining processes, though pennies remained 95% copper with trace tin and zinc. That decision preserved the familiar reddish hue but introduced slight variations in planchet composition. Collectors who study metallurgical reports often point out that these minute shifts in metal content sometimes led to imperfect strikes or unexpected planchet defects, an early hint that 1987 cents might yield surprises beyond face value. Production ramped up impressively that year. The Philadelphia facility struck over 3.4 billion coins, while Denver outpaced it with more than 4.4 billion. A smaller run of proof coins, just under 3 million, issued from San Francisco showcased razor-sharp details and brilliantly mirrored fields. Those proof examples rarely venture into circulation, but occasional mishandles resulted in imperfect proof pieces, a niche within a niche for variety seekers. Even among circulation strikes, subtle differences in die polish and collar pressure can create distinct characteristics that separate a run-of-the-mill penny from one that ranks among the rarest of its year. One standout variety is the double die obverse, where the date and liberty appear doubled under magnification. Only a few dozen of these DDOs are confirmed across both mints, and they often bear the hallmark, spread wings, doubling on the last digit of the date. Spotting that doubling requires a loupe or microscope, but calling it open-work doubling makes any collector's pulse quicken, especially when professional grading services authenticate it. Counts remain so low that certified examples in top condition have changed hands for more than $1,200 apiece in recent years. Off-center strikes and clipped planchets add another layer of intrigue. A misaligned planchet slipping past the collar can yield coins missing up to 15% of their design, and a coin with a clean, even clip, believed to stem from a laminated strip cutting irregularities, sometimes edges into four figures at auction. Broad strikes, where the collar fails and the coin expands beyond its normal outline, produce smooth, unmarked rims that stand out against standard cents. These error types attract specialized bidders who prize their eye appeal and biological rarity, pushing values far beyond melt price. Market values reflect both condition and rarity. In January 2025, a PCGS MS67RD, brilliant red, 1987 D Lincoln cent sold for $75, while its MS67RB, red-brown, counterpart hovered around $45 in similar auctions. Stepping up to MS68RD nudges that figure into triple digits, $125 to $150, depending on eye appeal and strike quality. More remarkable is the 1987 Philadelphia double die obverse in MS64BN, brown, which rocketed to $1,250 in a heritage sale late 2024. These numbers serve as benchmarks, but dedicated collectors know that fresh auction results can tweak values by 10% or more in just a few months. Stories from the community underscore these coins' allure. One veteran dealer recalls a customer handing over a bag of unsearched pennies from a decades-old bank deposit. Amid the mundane circulated coins shone an 87p DDO graded MS66RD, an extraordinary find that netted six figures when consigned. Another collector shares a tale of spotting a perfect broadstrike specimen at a local coin shop for $8 face value. The shop owner hadn't noticed the error, and the buyer walked away with a treasure priced under scrap. Condition plays an outsized role in determining value. A well-handled VF20, very fine, 1987 cent trades for just a few cents over face, while 58 Australian dollars, about uncirculated, examples start commanding $0.30 to $0.50 apiece. Crossing into mint state, MS60 coins fetch around $2 to $4, MS63 examples push $8 to $12, and fully red MS65 pieces soar to $20 $30. Collectors hunting high-grade red specimens often comb through monster boxes or dealer bags purchased by weight, seeking that perfect strike free of contact marks and with full cartwheel luster. Grading nuances matter even more when considering color classification. Brilliant red surfaces offer the highest premiums, but red-brown coins can surprise if they exhibit exceptional surface preservation. Conversely, coins with significant brown toning, while preserved, trade at a discount unless they display a unique patina prized by advanced collectors. Understanding how professional graders evaluate strike definition, surface marks, and color distribution is essential before investing significant sums. From an investment perspective, the 1987 cent occupies a fascinating niche. It's common enough that casual collectors can hunt through pocket change, yet scarce enough in high grades and with certified errors to support robust market values. Tracking population reports from PCGS and NGC helps collectors gauge how many certified survivors exist at each grade level, informing decisions about when to buy, sell, or trade. Seasoned collectors often compare recent census data against auction archives to anticipate price movements ahead of mainstream demand spikes. Inspecting these coins demands clear tools and good lighting. A 10x loupe reveals doubling on the date and letters, while an LED lamp highlights die polish lines in proof and uncirculated pieces. Careful cleaning is a red flag. Any sign of abrasion or polishing dramatically lowers value, so learning to distinguish natural toning from harsh cleaning remains a critical skill. Experienced collectors recommend handling coins by the edges and storing them in inert holders to preserve surfaces for future appreciation. For anyone seeking a 1987 penny that stands out, patience pays dividends. Hunting through circulated finds builds familiarity with die traits and error patterns that lead to rare discoveries. Networking with specialty dealers and participating in online forums can uncover off-market opportunities, such as fresh submissions from estate sales. Armed with knowledge of recent auction results and grading standards, collectors can approach these modest cents with the confidence that genuine rarities await under the most ordinary appearances. With the hidden qualities of the 1987 Lincoln cent fully unveiled, you're ready to explore another penny that has surprised collectors in its own right. In the next segment, we'll turn our attention to a coin minted 2 decades later that shares the same face value but dances to an entirely different tune. Now let's head back to the late 1970s, a time when disco was king, inflation was climbing, and U.S. coinage was in a transitional phase. The 1978 Lincoln cent may not stand out in the average collector's album the way a key-date wheat cent does, but for those who've studied this era, it's a sleeper coin with surprising value in the right conditions. This one doesn't rely on extreme mint errors or flashy die breaks to earn its place. It's about subtle variety, condition rarity, and a few elusive anomalies that continue to puzzle and excite collectors. To start with the basics, the 1978 penny was the final full-year issue before the U.S. Mint made significant changes to the Lincoln cent's reverse design. From 1959 through 1981, the coin's composition remained mostly unchanged, 95% copper, 5% zinc and tin, and so did the Lincoln Memorial design on the back. More than 8.4 billion Lincoln cents were struck in 1978, over 4.2 billion at the Philadelphia Mint and 4.3 billion in Denver. So yes, like the 1961 cent, this is a high mintage coin. That alone makes people assume it's not worth investigating. But that's a mistake. What separates the 1978 penny from the rest of the pack is twofold: die varieties and condition scarcity. Let's break it down. One of the most intriguing features in 1978 cents are the small but significant die variations, especially involving the mint mark. For the 1978 D penny, eagle-eyed collectors should look for repunched mint marks, RPMs, which are relatively uncommon for this year but do exist. One particularly collectible RPM shows the second D punched slightly north of the first, creating a shadow or ghost effect that's visible even under modest magnification. These coins aren't easy to come by, but when identified and verified, they can be worth well over $50 in mint state grades. There's also a lesser-known but increasingly discussed phenomenon among 1978 cents from the Philadelphia Mint, minor double dies. While none of these are as dramatic as the 1969 S or 1972 DDOs, a few known 1978 double die obverse varieties have been catalogued, showing minor doubling in Liberty or the motto above Lincoln's head. These tend to be subtle, which makes them easy to overlook, but the top-graded examples can sell for several $100s, especially when certified by PCGS or NGC. Now, let's talk condition, because this is where the 1978 penny really comes into focus as a collector's prize. Copper coins from the 70s weren't always well struck or carefully handled by the mint, which means high-grade survivors with full red color are actually surprisingly scarce. Most coins from this year, even ones pulled from circulation early, show signs of weak strikes, bag marks, or toning. Finding one with razor-sharp detail, clean surfaces, and blazing red luster is harder than it sounds, and the market reflects that. Take auction prices, for example. A standard 1978 penny in circulated condition is only worth face value unless it has a die variety. Even in MS60 or MS62 red, you're looking at a modest value, maybe $2 to $5. But as soon as you hit MS66 red, the story changes. A PCGS graded 1978 MS66 red has sold for over $400. At MS67, that number can leap closer to $1,000 depending on demand and population reports. And here's the kicker, there are very few known MS67 reds from 1978. It's not that people aren't submitting them, it's that they just don't exist in large numbers. PCGS, for example, has graded fewer than 24 1978 pennies at MS67 red, and none higher. That kind of population rarity, where the coin isn't scarce overall, but extremely rare in top condition, drives big premiums. And collectors in their 40s and 50s, who may have handled these coins daily in their youth, are now revisiting them with a new appreciation for how hard it is to find one in pristine, untouched condition. And here's a fun side note for variety hunters. 1978 saw the emergence of what collectors call the floating roof error on some Lincoln Memorial cents. On certain coins, the roof of the Lincoln Memorial appears to be detached or floating because the vertical lines that normally connect it to the building are missing. It's not a die variety in the strictest sense, it's more of a design anomaly caused by excessive die polishing, but it's collected all the same. Some even treat it like a subtype. In higher grades, these floating roof cents can fetch between $25 and $100, depending on clarity and eye appeal. If you're going through rolls or inherited collections, the key takeaway is this: don't dismiss the 1978 penny as a generic copper cent. Between the RPMs, minor double dies, floating roof anomalies, and the genuine challenge of finding a flawless red example, it has more going on than most people think. This is a coin that rewards careful study, especially when paired with a good loupe, a grading guide, and a little patience. In a lot of ways, the 1978 penny represents the quiet middle age of Lincoln cents: no major design changes, no fanfare, no instantly recognizable errors. But it's precisely in that quiet that the opportunity hides. When collectors overlook a coin, its rarities become more valuable. When fewer people search for it, the odds of discovery rise. And when you find that elusive MS67 red or spot a sharp RPM no one's noticed before, you realize that even the most ordinary-looking coin can tell an extraordinary story. So what do these three coins, from 1961, 2015, and 1978, have in common? It's not their age, or even their design. It's the fact that each hides its value in plain sight. The trick is knowing what to look for, and being willing to look at all. Whether it's a dramatic double die, a missing designer's mark, or a population rarity hiding inside a roll of change, the US penny continues to prove it's anything but worthless.